You know what it is! It's Taco Tuesday!
Hype will always exist as a main selling point and as a market driver when it comes to these upcoming NFT collections. Let's be honest, when these projects pop up, we don't have a lot of detail at all to go after because for the most part, these project founders aren't doxed, or if they are, there's not a lot of professional experience or experience in the space for a lot of them. The roadmaps are basically the copy and paste roadmaps that we've had for the past few months, and we usually don't get those details until closer to mint. And then in terms of the actual art, we're only getting a select preview of sneak peeks of the greater NFT collection. I think recently this has become a huge problem because the main thesis for investors and flippers overall has been this hype meta. And so I'll explain exactly what I mean by the hype meta and why I think it is dead in this video. I'm going to talk about what I think the new meta is right now and moving forward, and mainly just how you guys can succeed in the current market conditions. As always, make sure you guys hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it. So looking at the hype meta, as I've kind of talked about, I'm going to give you guys an example here, but I want to make it clear the hype meta has lasted on both ETH and Sol for quite a while, and it's still not going to fade away, but I think it's important to look at the current examples given the market situation so you guys can just understand what's going on here. kongz Studios actually minted on Sunday. This is a project that I covered on the channel. I was bullish on and I did have whitelist for. And so with kongz Studios, they have about 300,000 followers on their Twitter right now. Heading over to Magic Eden, you guys can see that kongz floor price right now is 3.1. They actually minted for 3 Sol. So in all regards, currently this project in terms of value and floor price is a massive flop. The floor actually got as high as I think 6 Sol, but it quickly came back down. It really hung in that 4 to 5 Sol range for quite a while. Another project that I covered on this channel was Kings of the Street. This is another Solana project. You guys can see that in terms of followers, they're right up there as well with almost 220,000 followers. Heading over to their floor price, they're sitting at 1.8 floor, which I think they minted for maybe 2 Sol, but either way, like this project had a ton of hype around it. Same with gcon, and basically the hype meta is that, you know, these projects amass thousands and thousands of Twitter followers. The Discord engagement is popping off. There's tons of people grinding for whitelist in there. The project's main allure is just the hype around it. You know, the art is decent at best. We don't know a ton about the team. The roadmaps are very vague for both projects. And so you're really just buying into the fact that there's a lot of hype around it. A lot of people are talking about it. They think it's going to do well. And everyone is kind of in on this secret that we're going to mint the project and we're going to instantly flip it. Everyone's doing that same thing. These projects are just going to get flipped into the ground. Because I mean, for both of these projects, you guys can see that the volume is pretty solid, you know, almost 40,000 Sol here. So they're getting volume. It's just that everyone is trying to exit at, you know, 2x, 3x, 4x. And so it never even actually gets to that level. I want to show you guys that this doesn't just happen on Solana. This is not just a more recent thing. This has been happening on ETH for probably at least the past month or two. We're looking at BBRC Ivy Boys, a project that had a solid amount of hype around it. Once again, 240,000 followers. They're even verified. This is once again an Ethereum project. So the mint price for BBRC Ivy Boys was 0.15. You can see right now the floor is sitting at 0.17. Heading over to NFT Go, you guys can see that BBRC Ivy Boys actually did have a nice pump up to about 0.4. That lasted for maybe 2 or 3 days. And then you guys can see that kind of fizzle out. Right around mint though, it actually went below mint. It went to 0.13. I think it was around that, you know, 0.13 range for a little while. Basically hovered around mint and then eventually had that kind of takeoff. So that's just kind of the recap of like what the hype meta has been, at least for the past month, but really even beyond that with both Solana and Ethereum projects. Is a part of this probably the greater market conditions and the global markets right now just being down, crypto being down? Absolutely, that's a huge factor. Everyone wants to stay liquid. There's a ton of uncertainty in the market right now. And I know that, you know, pretty much everyone out there is advising you to not have a lot of money in, you know, your JPEGs, in your NFTs. But still, I just wanted you guys to know because I know a lot of people out there put a ton of time into actually trying to get whitelisted for a lot of these hype mints that, you know, you're putting in a ton of time to get whitelisted, and these projects for the most part of recent have been flopping. That doesn't mean you can't make money on these hype mints. And there's going to be, you know, exceptions to the rule, of course, but it just seems like right now everyone is on that same page of mint, quickly flip, and the floor prices just aren't taking off because the supply and the amount of listings is just way too high. So looking at the top projects on OpenSea right now, I think a lot of you guys might be asking, what is the solution, or how can we actually make money in the current market? And I'm just going to be honest, my thesis and my strategy has been to kind of sit on my hands. I'm not making a ton of plays. I'm dabbling in some of these degen mints that are happening where, they're really just getting pumped very, very quickly and dumping short after. I think it's a very, very high risk. You guys have to know once the volume stops, those floor prices are going to absolutely dump. And so have your targets for your exit and be ready to exit very, very quickly. But for the most part, looking at the top three right now, obviously you have Bored Ape Yacht Club, we have Elftown and Goblintown. And so I really want to focus on Goblintown to really encapsulate this new meta and what I think is going to drive success, at least in the short term. And so if you guys aren't familiar, Goblintown has absolutely encapsulated the NFT community in the past 2 weeks or so. They are purposely extremely, extremely ugly for the art. And yeah, I mean, dude, this project, I saw it at, I think, half ETH, even up as high as like 0.7 or so. And I just thought, man, this is just gonna dump, so quick. People are just gonna get absolutely dumped on. The floor is up to 2.5, and I think it's flirted with as high as 3 ETH. It's the meme that just keeps memeing at this point. They're absolutely killing it. If you guys have been on Twitter, they have these Twitter spaces every few days where hundreds and I think even thousands of people are just in these spaces, where people are just making goblin noises and other kind of weird sounds. Definitely something that you guys are going to want to witness. But I think the point of Goblintown and why it succeeded is just that it's fun, it's creative, it's new, the sense of community with people making all these crazy memes and joining a space for 2 hours just making weird ass goblin noises. Like, that's just where the market is. And that speaks, I think, to the greater meta and what's going to work for the immediate future at least. But I think it's really a principle that's always worked. If the community is strong and people aren't listing the NFTs, the floor price can only go up. I know it's as simple as that if people don't sell, they don't list, the floor price will go up. But I mean, genuinely, with a collection of 10,000 in the current market, for a new collection, they only have 7% listed. Like, that is extremely bullish overall. And I think it's just the fact that people don't want to sell this right now. This was a free mint that's absolutely taken off, and they just really took the space by storm. Do I think there's going to be a lot more meme and like interesting creative projects that kind of pop up that are free mints or cheap mints where, they just do something that we haven't seen before? Absolutely. I think right now the focus is on, what is fun, what is different, because I think people are just tired of the same stuff, as I mentioned with the hype meta. My advice is look for just fun plays, look for the right communities, the ones where even in this bear market, there's not a ton of listings. There's still a ton of activity and conversation, in the holders chat, in the Discord, the communities that have presence on Twitter, and they're having, Twitter spaces every few days or on a weekly basis, because those are the ones where they actually believe in the project long term. They believe in the team. So the gist is, just don't take this current market too seriously. Have fun right now. Look for these more interesting and innovative projects that pop up, and look out for free mints, because we're seeing free mints sell out or mint out quickly and then immediately get action on the secondary. So I think free mints is really going to be a big play. So when we're looking at, this community driven meta, I do want to give you guys 3 projects that I think are very community focused, like passion projects that are going to absolutely crush it regardless of the market conditions going on right now. I've already covered 2 of these projects. I just want to touch on them briefly. And then the third project, I think a lot of you are already familiar with, but Bubble Goose Ballers on Solana is one that I've covered on the channel, I think a few weeks back. This is going to absolutely crush it. It's one of those projects on Solana that, although yes, it does have nearly 200,000 followers, Carl Jones is behind the project, who was the producer of Boondocks. They actually have a very sound team. They're just completely legit on all spectrums, so definitely one you guys should check out. I dedicated my entire last video to Duppy, so I'm not going to talk about it any further. This is one that I actually haven't covered on the channel, but Memeland with Goblintown's success makes me even more bullish on Memeland. The team is absolutely stacked, like the advisors and everyone behind it. It has basically all the right people in the space that you can trust to actually build something up. They've had a ton of collabs, and I think Memeland, in terms of just what the project is, fits the NFT market, like just the people who are in the market, the demographic, super well. So I think Memeland, once it does mint, will absolutely crush it. I hope you guys found today's video useful. If you did, as always, hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below telling me your thoughts on the metas right now and what projects are going to do well. And until next time, I'm out.